Hey guys, I'm Dr. Anthony Gustin.
And I'm Chris Irvin.
And this is question number 61 of 268 in Keto Answers, the book we just published about making a ketogenic diet as easy as humanly possible.
Yeah, so the question that we're diving into in this video is, how important is food quality on a ketogenic diet?
Oh boy, what about any diet?
Yeah, I guess we should probably take a step back. Yeah, how important is food quality in general?
Yeah, I'm going to be as bold as to say that I would rather have people not do a ketogenic diet and eat real food, moderate to high carb, than go on a ketogenic diet.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think that that's not a wrong way to look at it. I think that food quality is probably one of the biggest things that we've lost as this keto movement has really started to take off. And we start seeing, people trying to find these different hacks for their favorite high carbohydrate foods, and this is just leading to a lot less emphasis on food quality, and I think that's something that we need to be getting back to.
Yeah, people think that as long as the levels of ketones in their blood are high, they're healthy, and I think that's really ridiculous way to look at it.
Yeah, I think that the important thing to look at is that keto is about so much more. Keto is about health, right? And we always talk about that it should be a lifestyle and that we're trying to, retake control of our health. And health is a lot more than just macronutrients. And I think that we simplify keto too much in assuming that it is a high fat, low carb, moderate protein, which is what a lot of people like to say, diet. And this leads a lot of us to thinking that as long as we're staying in some specific macronutrient range, that we're going to be healthy. As long as we're in ketosis, we're going to be healthy. But as we know, we can eat nothing and be in ketosis, but that doesn't mean that we're fueling our body as we should be.
Right. We can inject our bodies with snake venom and be in ketosis. Doesn't mean that's healthy. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And looking at why food quality is important. Well, simply, it is what you're made of. So literally everything you eat, you can't make new cells unless you eat food and put that food into new cells. Mm-hmm. So for example, let's say your cell membrane, every cell should be like a beach ball, and that cell membrane is made of fat, and that different quality fat comprises your cell membrane. If you have really poor quality fat, that cell membrane, instead of looking like a nice tight beach ball blown up really tight, looks like a crumpled up piece of paper. You have cell receptors on each one of these cells, and having that big beach ball like thing, cell membrane, makes it so that way your cells can talk to other cells and perform all the functions they need to perform, right? If it's all crumpled up, then your receptors don't really work, your cells can't communicate. Not to mention, all of the things that cells need to communicate come from micronutrients. So yes, macronutrients, protein is sort of the structural building blocks of your body. Then you have carbs or fat as sort of the energy currency. But how does your body work otherwise? It's from nutrients, it's from micronutrients. For your body to actually work and function, we need some nutrients. It's very important.
Yeah, and I think that when we start keto, we have such this emphasis on cutting out certain foods from our diet. It's like, hey, we need to remove foods that are high in sugar, foods that are high in carbs, but we don't focus on replenishing it with high quality, nutrient-dense foods that are going to allow us to thrive. So, there's a really big difference between surviving and thriving, and making sure that we're focusing on food quality is what's going to be what allows us to thrive. So, and I think one of the easiest ways to look at this is that, there's a really big difference in somebody's diet where if I'm consuming, pork rinds with nacho cheese on them, that's still considered a low carb ketogenic diet, but that is going to be a lot different from his diet, which may be, grass-fed, grass-finished beef, using if he's using dairy, he's using raw dairy sources, he's sticking to more whole food, micronutrient-dense foods. There's going to be a big difference in what's going on in our bodies. And I think that this is one of the biggest reasons why we see a discrepancy in the research when we start looking at blood lipids and our inflammatory levels and things like that. You put people on a ketogenic diet, two people in the same study could be following the exact same macronutrient range, but could be eating drastically different diets. One diet could be, grain-fed burgers cooked in vegetable oils. That's obviously going to lead to a much different metabolic response than what's going to be happening in somebody who's eating much higher quality, nutrient-dense keto foods.
Yeah. So, this is where we just need to look at common sense. Eat food that grows outside, whether that be animal products, plant products, and eliminate processed stuff. Processed stuff, your body just doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Yep. And I think too that we should also, consider the fact that just because there's certain foods that we can have on keto doesn't mean that they should become staples in our diets. Now, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have them. Just the other day, we were chatting on a podcast and we were talking about bacon. Everybody, when they start keto, it's all about bacon. They want to have as much as they can. And while, yes, bacon is a keto food in that it's not going to spike your blood sugar, it's low in carbs, high in fat, it fits with a ketogenic diet. If that is the staple of your diet and something that you're consuming with like every meal, you're missing out on a lot of micronutrients. That doesn't mean that we're telling you not to have those things, but it means that you shouldn't be having that be the main thing that's in your diet.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that can drive really, really high when we're having these really unnatural processed foods is inflammation levels. Yeah, I mean, this is just one process in your body, but your body basically has to fix all the damage of the food you're eating.
Yeah.
So I've worked with a lot of people, and they might have some weight loss, fat loss in the beginning. They hit a plateau, take some lab work, their inflammation is sky high, triglycerides sky high, the lipid panel is out of whack. I mean, we dive into that in I think an entire other video, but I mean, this is one thing where we get them to do real foods, cut out the vegetable oils, cut out the processed stuff, get them high quality animal fat instead of these really refined seed oils, and they're back to making progress again.
Yeah, and I think it's shouldn't be such a crazy idea for us to think about food quality either. I mean, a lot of people out there who are following keto would probably admit that we shouldn't be eating processed foods. We shouldn't be having a lot of processed carbohydrates and stuff. But even when we look at like keto-friendly foods and like the meat industry, we see so much processed stuff, like processed lunch meats and things like that, that, I think it's pretty unfair to say that we shouldn't be having processed carbs, but it's okay to be having these processed keto-friendly foods. I think that that's probably not the best way that we should be looking at it. So I think that, getting back to having the focus of your diet being whole foods, low in carbohydrates, is probably the best thing you can do on keto.
Yep. If you're looking to simplify everything you need to know about the world's most confusing diet, head on over to Amazon.com and pick up Keto Answers today. The best part about it is that you're not just getting basic information. It's almost like you're getting a tiny little version of me and Chris shrunk down, put in your pocket to answer every question you have along your way.
And that's not weird, it's beneficial.
It's the best.